it makes sense at that point. You know, it doesn't always make sense when you're providing the service or when you have people coming in at the worst of their worst. But it's your job to figure out how to make that better, and it's not overnight. You know, the problems didn't present themselves overnight, and they're not going to resolve themselves overnight. But we are there to walk the walk with them through the journey, and in 5 years from now, and 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I want to know that we made a difference, and I feel like we do. So. Midwest Youth Services is a non-for-profit agency. We were established over 40 years ago by a grassroots organization. It was basically a group of people that came together that wanted to make change in the lives of youth. We were established after that through state and federal funding. We are 100% non-for-profit, so all of our services are free and confidential. A vital part of programming at Midwest Youth Services is our crisis response program. It's what we're known for, and we specialize in that. Crisis response is our mandated population of youth. We frequently have to respond at all hours of the night to meet youth that are in crisis with their families. Our main goal is to keep youth within the home with their family units and strengthen those relationships beyond the point of crisis.
Important part of our relationship with Midwest Youth is their crisis response. If we encounter a juvenile that's in crisis, whether it's just the juvenile or the juvenile and his or her family, Midwest Youth provides a crisis hotline that we can call, and generally within 30 to 40 minutes we have a crisis counselor right here at our police department or the location. As long as it's a safe location for everyone, we have that person that's available to us 24 hours a day. So having that crisis person available to the police department is just an incredible resource to have.
Crisis services at Midwest Youth Services involves the child either refusing to return home, the parent refusing to have the child return back home, or the child is beyond control and in immediate danger. And we will usually be contacted by the hospital or the police department or just another agency in the community. We will meet that youth and or the family at that location, and we will provide the crisis intervention. So we will talk about what's going on, figure out the best solution for the child and the family, and make sure that that child and the family are safe. That's our main concern.
We work with Jacksonville Police Department and all 5 counties. We serve Morgan, Brown, Cass, Schuyler, and Scott counties. We regularly send outreach efforts to each of those counties to further build those relationships.
The outreach department is important because a lot of what we do on our case management side is very private. We pride ourselves on providing confidential services to our clients. However, we still need to be present in the community because if people don't know about us, they won't be able to reach out for our services. So I attend interagency meetings, I go to health fairs, I help at summer camps, I hold individual meetings with a lot of the different agencies and places around the community to talk with them and to educate them on what we do, who we are, and how we can help.
They also provide the homeless youth program, which has become an issue nationwide, not just locally, with services that are needed for individuals who may need a place to live, a job, or just a little help out to get their feet back underneath of them. And they've been wonderful to work with. Whenever we call them or need them, 24 hours a day they're on call. They provide support for our police department whenever we call with them, so we're just glad to have that relationship with Midwest Youth.
Homelessness here looks like staying on a friend's couch, staying on a family member's couch. It's not just being homeless and on the streets and not having a place to go.
Early on in my educational career, when I was looking for places for my families to go as far as homelessness, or a kid that I came across that was homeless, there really was no options in Jacksonville at the current time. Now, I know since then we've developed a shelter, but this is a lot more intensive. It provides, I feel like, the case management to go with not only a place to live, but also how to put basic skills into practice, so as far as employment and things like that. Glad to be a part of an organization that is addressing that need in the community.
We really value our working relationships with community partners because it helps us have a greater understanding of all of the ways that we work together. We don't understand youth in the same way that the educators would, or that mental health clinicians would, or that the courts would, or that law enforcement does. We all have our different visions and experiences and expertise when it comes to working with youth. And I think it's critical that we all are able to bind that together to bring the best quality outcomes for our youth collaboratively.
We work together as a village to care for these youth. Youth spend a lot of times with their families and at school and a little bit of time with us. So I think it's so important to be able to make sure that we are working with their team as well. It's not just about us and what we can do for them, but it's about how we can work with them. And working with them means that we are working with all of the people who touch their lives. Teachers, police officers, family members, friends, whoever.
Not only does Midwest Youth provide the services that are intricate to the juveniles in the community and to families, it also provides other services for our police department. We've worked together with them on compiling statistics and other numbers that are important when it comes to being able to put programs in place, going out and seeing what's going on. And the Midwest Youth has been intricate in providing these graphs and charts with the data that we provide them, and it helps greatly with feedback and how we do approach different things in the community.
Someone can get services by referring. Our referrals come from the police department, schools, and parents can even refer the kids themselves. When a youth is referred, we offer limited counseling services such as coping skills, anger management, stress management. Just if they need extra support within the family, we can counsel them on any type of services that they need. I like to start off with building rapport with the youth, finding out what they like, what interests them, what's going on at home, before I actually get down to the point of, what are you struggling with? So I try to just kind of build that relationship before so they're not looking at me as, a counselor or a case manager. They're more looking at me and they're respecting me, and they kind of got to know me as I'm getting to know them.
So case management is meeting the family and the kids where they're at, and what do they need? Do they need you to meet them at the doctor's office to get something set up? Do they need you to see them at the school and get their grades squared away? Lots of kids need that extra assistance in the community, and I think our case management services do that for the kids.
When we're working to help youth and families, it's important to have services that are based in the community rather than in simply just an office setting. Kids do not exist in a vacuum, and family relationships do not exist without the dynamics of all of the other systems that are around them. So seeing kids at school and being able to meet with kids out in the community and engage with them out in the community helps us see a little bit more about them, understand a little bit more about their world, and help them to be able to apply the skills that they learn in a more natural setting. I think that youth and families may be afraid to ask for help because it can be confusing. It can be threatening. They may either not recognize that they want help or need help, or they may be worried about what happens if things get worse. One of the things that sometimes happens is that things can get worse before they get better, and that can be a scary process to go through until you're able to kind of come out the other side and see progress and have things get better. And I think people can be intimidated by that.
I hope that MYS makes the impact of just making families and youth not afraid to ask for help. We're not here to judge you. We're here to help you live a better life and help you have better relationships and go far in whatever avenue you're wanting to succeed in.
Just pick up the phone and call. That's what you need to do. We are completely free, we are completely confidential, and we are ready to help. It's not challenging, anything that should get in the way of you just picking up the phone and calling, because we're here and we're ready.
You know, they're trying to survive, you know, and it's our job to find out how to make that easier. You know, you can't fix every issue, but you can make tomorrow hopeful. You can make them want better for themselves, or their children. You know, just that impact that you have on them is, I mean, the sky's the limit, really.
The thing that keeps me coming back day after day is knowing, because we have the data that shows it, that we are making a difference in the lives of kids and families in our community.
I think every kid deserves a chance, and you have to step back and see that every kid needs somebody, whether that person is really good at working with kids or not. They might need somebody who's really stern. They might need somebody who's really just fun-loving. So I think for me personally, I just love connecting with the kids, and I love, you know, laughing with them, but having serious conversations with them and figuring out how we can help them be successful.
I love my job. I love the flexibility of my job. I love that I get to speak to youth. I get to speak with their families. I get to speak with, you know, police officers and, you know, all of these people that make a difference. Every single day is different. You know, I could spend an afternoon at a career fair talking with kids about, you know, what we do and how to get involved in social work, things like that. I can have a meeting with the chief of police in, you know, a certain town. I can go on a crisis call because a kid has ran away from their home and doesn't know what to do. And that can happen all within 24 hours, and that is what I love.